We're live now. Okay. So hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching around the world. Welcome to the Committee on the Rights of the Child's Google Hangout, which is part of its celebrations for the 25th anniversary of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. My name is Jennifer Philpott-Nissen. I work with World Vision International in Geneva, Switzerland, and I'll be moderating this session today. I would like to very warmly welcome our participants for this session. We have Brianna and Josh from Australia. We have Mio and Chihiro from Japan, Ajaya and Deepesh from Nepal, and Jasmine and Nur from the Philippines. I'd also like to warmly welcome our two members of the United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child, Ms. Maria Herzog from Germany and Ms. Olga Kazova from Russia. And finally, a very warm welcome to all of you watching online, and we look forward to receiving your comments. So our discussion today is going to last about 30 minutes, and during that time we'll be talking about some of the themes that the children in each of the participating countries have discussed in their child participation groups and agreed on of being of importance to them. We'll be focusing on what the participants, who are speaking on behalf of the peers who elected them, see as possible solutions to the issues they discussed. Persons under the age of 18 are important members of society in every country. They have good ideas about how to resolve the issues they see in front of them in their everyday lives, which should be listened to. Together with the equally valuable inputs of adults, people of all ages can work together in a spirit of mutual respect to address the challenges that their communities face. So we're going to have a look at some of the themes that have currently or recently been significant for persons under the age of 18 in your countries. We'll start with Australia. Brianna and Josh, your group highlighted the fact that Aboriginal children, children seeking asylum, and children with a disability are at particular risk of rights violations in Australia. Using some examples, how do you think the rights of those children can be better upheld, and what do you think needs to happen? So Brianna and Josh, I'll hand over to you to respond to that.
Okay, thank you. In Australia, there is no national plan for children. Each state and territory just follows their own guidelines as to what needs to be done. If we don't have a national plan, we actually don't know what we want to do for children across Australia, resulting in nothing getting done. Within this national plan, there should be a few groups of focus as they are at most risk of being neglected their rights. These groups of children are as follows.
The Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children, as they're currently 10 times more likely to be placed in out-of-homes care. This can have a negative impact on these children, and they often don't feel safe when they're not with their families. And added to this, growing up in out-of-homes care can often result in them being distant from their culture. And we believe that we should step in early and make sure families have the help so Indigenous children can stay with their families, stay safe, and stay in touch with their culture.
Also, the Australian government puts children seeking asylum in immigration detention, which is like a jail-type environment, when they come to Australia looking for protection. Detention isn't safe for children, and we don't have to keep them there. They should be with their family and living in the community where it is safe. The Australian government is going to release children in detention in Australia, and this is a step in the right direction. But there are almost 300 children in detention in places like Christmas Island and Nauru.
The other one is children with a disability, as around 7% of Australia's children live with a disability. Children with disabilities can face many barriers to reaching their full potential in education, accessing services, financial support, etc. However, the role of the Disability Discrimination Commissioner was recently reconsidered and downgraded to a part-time role. We believe that this should definitely be full-time so they can monitor and help the children with disability.
So in summary, we want to see more help and support for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander families, and we want to make sure that they have this help early. And this is so that children can stay with their family, be strong in their culture, and ultimately be safe.
And we want the government to immediately release all children and their family from detention centres to live in the community. And we want a full-time Disability Discrimination Commissioner re-established and appropriate funding for our National Children's Commissioner, as this is all a part of the National Plan for Children in Australia.
Thank you very much, Brianna and Josh. Thank you. Some very important points there. Following on from what you've said, I would like to come to Miu and Chihiro in Japan, because you highlighted that access to education is a challenge for children who are marginalized by society. During your workshop discussions, what did you see as the obstacles to some children not going to school, and what did you and your peers think were the solutions? Over to you. Thank you.
Currently in Japanese education, we mainly see two problems. One is that there are no personalized education offered for each student. So if a student shows a sign of vulnerability, they get cut off. And now I want to show you something. I drew a picture which describes the educational system of Japan. This is the current state. Those with the vulnerabilities, for example, people suffering from poverty. This is just showing how the kids under the poverty is living and getting education. The second issue is that just give me a moment. There's no education offered to take care of each individual student currently. That's what I wanted to talk about on the first subject. Second is that there are this a movement where the adults are trying to hide away from the truth. Truth is not given out to kids. This is an education where we only see the surface. We don't really get to the truth, fundamentals. And the solution to those are the following. The solution that we've discussed in the previous workshop was that we want to have enough information, enough knowledge, so that we can express ourselves. And I drew up a picture of solution here as well. This describes the current Japanese education shifting to how it's supposed to be. In other words, it's offering more personalized education for each kids. This is it from Japan team.
Okay. Thank you very much. And please do make sure that your pictures, if you're able to scan them and send them in to us, that would be really useful to see those more closely. Thank you. So moving to Nepal and the Philippines, according to the discussions held among children in those countries, child labour is an obstacle to children's access to education. Ajaya and Deepesh, we'll start with you. Could you give us an overview of what challenges working children face in Nepal and what you think can be done to make sure that the law on child labour is better respected? So I'll hand over to Ajaya and Deepesh now. Thank you. Ajaya and Deepesh, we're not hearing you, unfortunately.
They're not there.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello now. Okay, perfect. Now we can hear you. Could you start again, please?
Yeah. We were talking about the challenges of Yeah, actually talking about the challenges of the child labor, we are just discussing for a few minutes that what can be the challenges. Like as we mentioned before, the challenges mostly prevailed in Nepal is like most of the people in Nepal are below the poverty line. So to earn money for their livelihood, most of the children are engaged in child labor. And similarly, due to lack of awareness, because Nepal, the people in the Nepal are most of the people are not literate, and hence due to illiteracy, to take their children to an education and they leave them to do unemployment so that they can earn money for their livelihood and so that they can survive easily. So these are all the challenges that we have analyzed in our country. And to talk about the solution, we are saying that all the people should be made aware and should be made educated about the impact of child labor on the child development. And we can also participate children to provide various facilities, and we can provide them free education, free health service, and so on, so that we can end child labor. Thank you.
Thank you. Deepesh, would you like to add some thoughts?
Actually, we first discussed among ourselves, and then one of we will be presenting. So this is the combined idea of us because we
Okay,
just discussed for 2 minutes.
lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you. So now, Maria and Nur in the Philippines, you have said that programs and services for children not in school are very important, including children who are working. Can you tell us what kind of programs and services do you think are needed to support the children, and how do you think these programs can help? Over to you, Maria and Nur.
Hello. Okay, just to sum up, 60% of 39 million Filipino children aged 6 to 24 years old are out of school youth in our country. Now, as a children, we believe that the government must take initiative to provide food and financial assistance to the children so that they can afford to go to school without needing to work, so that they would not be deprived of their right to have a quality education. We also believe that laws on child protection must be implemented by the government by doing awareness raising activities in rural areas in our country and taking steps to specifically involve public officials on implementing the laws that will protect the rights of the children. And also, the government must broaden reach and coverage of the conditional cash transfer so many people or many children of those will benefit. And also, the alternative learning education system in our country must be totally free so that the education for all must be achieved. I strongly believe that education the government in order to achieve zero poverty cases that causes children should also give children from indigent families books and educational materials that they cannot afford whenever possible for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Nur. And also, I just apologise, it's not Maria we're talking to, it's Jasmine. I'm sorry about that. So Jasmine, if you have comments you'd like to add, please go ahead now.
So far, I don't have any questions. Um, but I also believe that the government must really provide the uh, the government must really make education for free. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for all those inputs. So we now hand over to our committee experts, Olga and Maria. You've listened to what the children have had to say. This is your opportunity to respond, and you could tell us what you think of their ideas and what are your suggestions. Over to you, Maria and Olga. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm really happy and I feel privileged to be part of this discussion today. And I hear what the children have to say, that first of all, they need education in all forms and access to good services and opportunities in their lives. So what I would like to say is that what we try to always send a message to the policymakers, politicians, and also to the rest of the world, if you like, is that childhood is also the most important period of our life, which is the basis for the later life. And all children are entitled also to a joyful childhood. So besides providing their well-being and the services they need, education, social and health services, they should enjoy this period of time, which is also contributing to their future well-being. And listening to the issues raised by all of you, I'm very happy that you are aware of the problems in your respected countries, and I would like to encourage you to be as loud as possible to express your views so that everybody can listen to you and take your views into consideration, because this is one of the most important messages of the convention. Thank you for being here and thank you for listening to me.
If I may also add something, I'm really honored to be here and to participate in this chat, I would put it this way. And I will continue with what Maria has just said. I think that that's true. You should be loud. These are your rights, and you should do your best to protect them. And I see the main opportunity if you try to get together to apply to some your friends or to your teachers or somebody in your community who is interested in protecting your rights and somehow trying to get organized and to send a message to either to the government or to the local communities or to municipalities, dependently on your situation, and to make your voice, to make the authorities hear your voice and your problems and your wishes. And the right of education is one of the most important rights of children, and because it influences not only your current being, but it influences the whole your future life. So try to get organized. I would put it this way. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those responses. So we've talked a little bit about current issues of concern in your countries. So I think perhaps now with the remaining time we have, we would look a little bit about at themes that that the children consider important for the future, issues that you feel need to be addressed by your government, your community, etc. We'll start in Japan. Mio and Chihiro, the world has heard a lot on the news about the Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster in 2011. Could you tell us how this has affected the environment in Fukushima? And in your workshops, what did the children think needed to be done? So over to you.
Yes, we are having a nuclear power plant disaster caused by the Great East Japan earthquake. People were forced to go out of their hometown, where they had been living for such a long time. And that is actually happening. And then psychologically they are feeling a sense of loss a lot. And as a result of that disaster, children have lost the environment that they can play outside as much as they want. They cannot do that anymore. And that is causing a stress a lot to people. I mean, that environment caused by disaster, and that led to the increase of the people committing suicide. Recovery takes long time. And such a problem is negatively affecting us socially and psychologically a lot to us. And why that happened? I think that Japan as a whole just had a very low level of consciousness around safety. Nuclear power plants resides in Japan, where we live. So we do have a right to know. However, we did not know at all about the risk of the nuclear power plant. People did not tell us. That is, I think, is the problem for the people trying to hide or conceal the truth or the risk in this case. What sort of a risk is possible have to be known. And then people did not know about that. That is because of that disaster happened. In the past, at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, got the victims of the nuclear bombs. Having said that, still we are suffering again the nuclear power plant disaster in Fukushima. Because of that, so many people were forced to evacuate. This happened in Fukushima this time. However, you cannot tell. That may happen in Newtown tomorrow. It could happen anytime. We have to be conscious about that.
Thank you very much for that. Moving to Australia, Brianna and Josh, children in Australia also raised the issue of the environment. And although your discussions were not linked to one particular event, as in the situation in Japan, but rather to climate change, who do you feel is particularly affected, and what kind of challenges are those children and their families facing? Did your group have particular ideas as to what can be done to address these challenges? Over to you, Brianna and Josh.
Thank you. Climate change affects Australians in many ways. It affects everyone in Australia as well as our economy. It affects our economy in the fact that we are a farming nation, and when our oceans are becoming acidic, it isn't good for our oceanic farming industry. And in general, climate change isn't going to be good in the future for other farming industries in Australia. It affects everyone in the sense that we all know the devastating health impacts that climate change can have on children. And up north, there are many Torres Strait Islander communities that live on islands, which have started to flood in some instances as a direct effect of climate change. So we find that really worrying and something that we really need to take action on soon now.
And some of the solutions we've come up with include focusing on renewable energy sources rather than non-renewable ones. And also we believe that we need to raise awareness amongst Australians, and in particular young Australians, of the extent of climate change, as we're all responsible for caring for the environment, and individually small actions such as recycling, and we can all overcome this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh and Brianna. So thinking about what you've said, it really highlights the importance of our responsibility to listen to people under the age of 18, and you offer a very valuable perspective that can complement the work that adults are doing in professional capacity to address the challenges being faced in the countries. So moving to Nepal, Ajaya and Dipesh, what obstacles do children face when they try to express their views? How do you think we can better promote the importance of child participation and show that children and adults can and need to work together to complement each other's ideas? Over to you, Ajaya and Dipesh.
So to talk about sexual abuse, we have highlighted it as one of the most burning issue and one of the most prevailing problem in our country. So we all think that it should be solved, and the measures that are the things that the children can do by participating themselves, including adults and other people from the society, is that we need to have the refilling in the problem of sexual abuse. And if we know that somebody is being abused sexually, then we not only think about ourselves but also help to rescue them from the situation. And the main thing is that we need to have the problem we need to have the principle of no go and sell. It means that if we think that we are being abused sexually, then first we need to say no and then run away from the situation and then tell it to someone elder or someone senior than us so that the related person can have proper punishment and he or she will not dare to do it again. And other is that we need to learn and teach what we know about the problems, and also from the child club or child groups we can launch various awareness program, like we can do street drama, we can go on rally and so on. And socially, the person should be boycotted who is responsible for the sexual abuse, and in the society, the issue of the children should be prioritized so that the issue can be properly attended, and the social security of the children should be promoted, and all the people in the society, including adults, children, and other people, should work combinedly and have the feeling of refilling to the problem that occurs in the children. And to talk in the concept of Nepal, a lot of child clubs in our country are working together to end such problems. Like we are conducting rally, we are doing street drama, we are exposing the paintings related to such sexual abuse and making people aware. Not only making people aware, we are also giving various orientation program through documents and other measures to the children so that they will know about the problem and they will know what sexual abuse actually is. And to talk about the government, the measures that the government should take is that the government should invest for the secure of the future of the children. The plans and policies should be made to make children free from sexual abuse, and it should be implemented properly. And the program that are launched by the government in various levels to end child sexual abuse should be result oriented. It should not only be limited to the program, and child friendly policies and rules should be included in the constitution and implemented properly. Proper punishment should be given to the person who is involved in such sexual abuse publicly so that everybody can watch what will be the result of doing such sexual abuse, and they will be afraid from that. And free and compulsory education to children should be given so that they will know properly about the sexual abuse, and vocational training should be given to those people who are not interested in the education. Thank you. This is our combined discussion.
Sorry, I'll start again. So knowing who our children are and how old they are is of great importance if we want to count them in for discussions on how to improve the standard of living for all our countries. So Jasmine and Nur, can you tell us about the challenges that families face in the Philippines when they want to register their children at birth? And can you tell us why it is so important to make sure that children have a birth certificate? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So I will be starting. So I would start on stating the problems. So yeah, first, hindi malinaw ang proseso, tapos may mga nanganak sa bahay.
First, Jasmine says things are not clear, the process is not clear, and then there are mothers who give birth at home.
Yes. Next, may mga young mothers na hindi na alalayan sa proseso na pag nag-register, pag nagrehistro, sikretong proseso.
Okay. There are instances where young mothers are not being assisted in the process of registering their births of their kids, and since there are also cases there since they are young, they try to keep it a secret. The giving birth, they try to keep it a secret.
Or filing fees of registration.
So we have also uncertified birthing attendants who charge for filing fees for registering.
Yes. And lastly, some municipalities in our countries ask for donation for the processing of the birth registration. Yes, and I would just I would just like to add something. Yeah, as of March 5, 2014, this year, about 3 million Filipino children are invisible, or let's say they are not registered. Yes, and because the significance of birth registration is that they would have the access to free medical assistance, to education in case for instances that they need to enroll, and uh, the teachers would search for their, or would ask for their birth certificates. Yes. And for my recommendation, uh, cost of registration or birth registration should be free, and the government should also do mapping and go to remote areas and do scanning for unregistered births. And lastly, the government should increase the awareness of people about the importance of birth registration, particularly the parents in rural and remote areas, and those who are not, or for those who are uneducated.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. We've had a question that's come in online concerning the position of the USA and the ratification of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. So just like to the person who sent that question, first of all, thank you very much for engaging. There is quite a lot of information online about the different positions within the USA about the ratification of the convention. So we'd just like to invite you to get informed about the different positions, and even more importantly, get involved with the different campaigns if you do feel strongly about this. But thank you once again for sending us a question. Olga and Maria, we've listened to the children speak about the environment and the importance of active participation in society. Can I now hand over to you for your comments and your reactions to their ideas and your suggestions? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the contributions. I guess it is quite obvious that children can see, just like many of us adults, that the world is not very fair in many instances, and it should be much more equal, based on equal access and better opportunities and better provisions for children. In the case of Fukushima, I guess we still don't know the whole truth, and this is a very painful reality for all of us. So we only hope that we all can help the children in Japan to overcome the anxiety and also the damage caused, and also encouraging the government to talk in a much more transparent and honest way to all of us. So it would help everybody. Concerning the education, I find it extremely important that, for instance, the new digital technologies like the one we are using currently are very helpful and enabling much more children to have access to good quality information, and also what I would love to see, more interaction between the different countries. Children from the different parts of the world, they could share their experiences and strengthen each other, also also as far as the protection is concerned, because the other part of the stories we can hear time to time that children are quite defenseless. In many instances, they don't get the needed protection and support, and they cannot develop the resilience they would need to overcome their own difficulties. So I guess these type of activities, especially if it's not formal but more informal, when children can get together and share their experiences and get also support from the adults, will be for everybody. And as far as we could hear from the different countries, the issues are very similar. So I guess working together and as Olga has just said, uniting or getting together in resolving the problems, this would be very helpful, at least giving a better voice to children, and they can be more visible and better heard.
If I can add, yes, that's true. Unfortunately, there are too many problems in the world, and they concern children and us adults. But I would say that for children, it is much more difficult to face these problems. But I'm very glad that you do understand that there is a problem, and you do understand, say, for instance, as with the case of birth registration, you do understand that there is a problem, and you do understand all the consequences of lack of birth registration, and it's already part of the yes, part of the problem of this problem solving. I would put it this way: you need to know the problem, and it's already good beginning. Then you can start to solve it. And of course, from this point of view, it's absolutely crucial to have information and to have access to information. Otherwise, we are not keeping our eyes open on what's going on and cannot even start to make any changes. And I just wanted to draw your attention to probably what you know very well, that under the convention, the right of freedom of expression includes 3 particular points. This is the right to obtain information, this is the right to disseminate information, and this is the right to express yourself. So these are 3 aspects which are absolutely crucial, and I'm really very happy to see you acting with understanding of the problems, and I'm sure very much eager to protect children's rights. I'm sure you will be great child rights defenders.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Olga, and thank you. Thank you, Maria. So just in closing, I'd really like to thank all of the participants for taking part in the discussion today. Thank you to those of you who've been watching and sending your comments in. Everything will be captured in the committee's report of the event. So just a few final words. We would like to reiterate the value of child participation in discussions about current successes and challenges in our societies. Since the adoption 25 years ago, the Convention on the Rights of the Child has had a very positive impact in state parties.
No, go ahead. Can we say something? I just wanted to pay attention to the fact that there is now the 3rd optional protocol, the convention, which was in April, and this is absolutely unique document. This is the 3rd optional protocol on child communications, and it gives the opportunity for children to address directly the Committee on the Rights of the Child with their complaints or communications in case of violations of your rights. There are certain conditions, so I'm not going to discuss it right now, but you may read it in the document. But this is really for the first time in the history of the CRC that children will be able to address the committee directly.
And if I may just add, obviously this is quite a complicated procedure now, but you have hopefully national and local opportunities, and will be increased local and national opportunities to submit your opinion and your complaints. So this is a mechanism that can develop further. So it's not only the committee, although this is very important, but also the local mechanisms that help you to communicate and heard, and hopefully getting some kind of positive answers and solutions.
Just one word. There is very important condition. Your country should ratify this protocol. This is a condition for your application to the committee.
Okay, thank you ever so much, Olga Maria. That's very important that you just reminded us. So on that, we have to. The time is up now, unfortunately. So just a warm thanks to everybody, and goodbye. And I hope some of you will be able to join us for the later session in the day. Thank you very much. Bye bye.